Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kim Duramo from the American Institute of Mind-Body Medicine, and this is MindBody TV. Today's episode is Stop Self-Sabotage Through Self-Love. It's February, so it's, Valentine's, and the whole month is really all about love, 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 and hearts everywhere. And there's a lot of ideas we have about self-love and love in general, that it's this like airy-fairy feel-good thing. I love myself. Oh, just love everything exactly as it is and everything will be okay. And that is kind of a glossed over version of what love is, especially with Valentine's Day, where it's like this happy, dappy, cheeky love thing, and everyone's supposed to be so in love. And that is not the same as the self-love, the self-honoring that allows healing. So we're going to go a little deeper into what that really means for those of you who have been struggling with illness or lack or, anything less than total aliveness, feeling joyful, living in serenity, living in abundance and flow. This is your natural state. This is what allows the physical body to be as healthy as it possibly can. And this is what allows the circumstances of our lives to match this truth of who we are, this space of joy, this space of freedom, and to let our life match that so that we can live in that space of freedom that, we hear so much about. This is your birthright. This is how we're meant to live. And then we try to work at it and fight for it and make it happen. So I came up with this topic because Jessica Sullivan, who is my assistant with social media, she'll kind of feel things out a lot and be like, oh, this is a great topic because so many people are struggling with self-sabotage. How do I get out of self-sabotage? I'm sabotaging myself. I'm eating these foods that are really not good for me, or I'm in this relationship that I know is not really a fit, or I'm in this job that I hate and I keep being in the wrong situations. And what am I doing? How do I get out of self-sabotage? So I have 3 things to sort of speak to around this. If you do have that idea like, wow, I know I could get out of my own way. How do we do that? How do we get out of our own way so we can allow so much more to come in? So let me kind of come in the page so I can see you and see the comments here. Welcome for everyone who's listening to the recording as well. I just spoke to one of my favorite clients yesterday, and she said, I always listen to the recordings, and thank you so much, and how they've really touched her. So I want to give a special shout out to everyone who is listening to the recording. I know most people are going to be here for the recording. So hello, Jennifer. Great to see you too. Anyone else who wants to participate with comments, I will be reading them during the broadcast. And we'll also be creating this into the MindBody TV podcast. So that will be coming soon. So what happens with self-sabotage? And I want to hear from you. What are your ideas about self-sabotage, what you think you're sabotaging, and what you think you're supposed to be doing to fix that or counteract that? So one of the big things that happens with sabotage, where we're sort of operating against ourselves, what's happening is we're operating against our nature. Our nature is one, like especially as a physician, I can see what allows people to heal and thrive, and what is it that keeps people stuck in these patterns of illness where no matter what they do, no matter what they eat, no matter how much money they spend, and the best experts and whatever, they don't get better. They still have autoimmune disease or thyroid disease or chronic fatigue syndrome or chronic pain, chronic depression, you name it. What is it that keeps people in that state is they are denying that truth of who they really are. They're not living the essence of who they really are, the joy, the freedom. They're living a lie. They're telling themselves a lie. And these can be so deeply ingrained that we don't consciously register them. It's like, no, I'm telling myself every day, I'm healthy, I can have everything I want, my life is abundant. But if it's not actually sinking in, it's not the foundation you are operating from. And if it's not the foundation you're operating from, a sense of freedom, a sense of self-worth, you will not live that because you can't fool your body. That foundation of this is who I really am is going to actually, you can feel into it a little if you're working really, really hard to heal. There's usually a foundation that I'm not okay. My health is not that powerful. Or if I'm working really hard to heal, there's a foundation. All these bad bugs and viruses and bacteria are so powerful and they're out to get me. So it's like, oh, it's flu season and I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I'm afraid. Or, oh, I shouldn't go out because so-and-so is sick and I might be around that sick person and I'm threatened. I'm living vulnerability. I'm in a premise or a foundation that I'm vulnerable and I'm not going to be okay. And that is what your body registers most powerfully. Whatever is the core foundation that you're really operating from. So take a moment now, this I know is going to be good for me too, to just slow your breath, take a few deep breaths, and let your body relax. Especially for me, because I get so enthusiastic and then I'll speak really, really fast. And, I don't need my body to get all revved up. Relax your shoulders, feel your spine nice and straight. And let yourself just breathe fluidly. Let everything go. And you can close your eyes if that is something available to you right now, but gift yourself this time, because sometimes we get like 10 windows open. It's like, oh, I'm listening to this thing over there and it'll sink in. But it's really the power of your presence, like letting everything else go for even just 5 minutes and presencing yourself and witnessing what's happening in here right now. So just breathe for a few deep breaths. And really feel your body. Gift yourself that space of your own attention. I am the most important thing I can put my attention on right now. Good, and then feel into the space of this foundation, this operating system that you've been in. So how have I been operating? Have I been running myself ragged to do more because my foundation of belief is I'm not enough? Am I operating from a space, oh, someone said that the feed is really skippy, but everyone else, it seems like they're okay. All right. Someone else might be operating, if you're like, I can't eat this, I've got to eat that. I can't do this, I've got to do that. I can't go here because I'll be threatened. The foundation is I'm not safe. I'm not taken care of. Or I'm not strong, I'm vulnerable. Another foundation I see very frequently, especially where we've got to get more and learn more and work harder. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. So that's another one. I'm not worthy of like really having it all, so I've got to compromise. I'm not worthy of it being that easy. So whenever things go well, I feel like the other shoe's going to drop and I'm still living in fear, even when things are going well. Or I can't give myself too much of a break because I really am not worthy of having it that easy. I've got to kind of work for it because I'm really not good enough. So it could be anything. Just feel into that for yourself. Be willing to recognize, oh yeah, that's the pattern I'm living from. I am always going. I can't stop. There's a foundation of I won't be okay. If I stop, I'll fall off into oblivion because life is not really abundant. So that may be the foundation, and it's really worth seeing that for yourself. Like, where am I living from? What's the premise I'm living from? Because that is what you will always experience as truth, as reality. What we know about the brain is so fascinating because your brain's going to interpret your reality based on that foundation, based on that belief system, based on that premise, which, like I said, is often so ingrained. It's unconscious. So just keep your eyes closed for a moment and breathe through your body and be willing to witness. What is this foundation I'm living from? That is the lie. That is the lie that's keeping me stuck. That is the lie that's propagating this limitation or this illness. What is that foundation, that belief system? And am I ready to let this go and just get myself off the hook so that I can have more? Don't make that work. Don't make that a mind game of, oh, how do I do it now? Oh, I got it. Now how do I fix it? Let that go. Just breathe in, breathe out. And you can put your hand right on your heart and then just let your system know. You can say this out loud. I honor this awareness. Good, and just breathe. And then let your system know, I'm ready to release all of this faulty foundation. Good, and just relax your body. It is as simple as that. Like, you can consciously register something new. So you can keep your hand right on your heart and just let your system know, I'm ready to receive the truth of who I really am. And let everything go. And then just feel the serenity, the love, the essence of who you are is pure love. So for this month on Valentine's, and today, doing this broadcast, is on my birthday. I am super excited to be 45 years old today and celebrate that, and celebrate myself. The essence of who we are is pure love. When we remember that, it won't make sense to the mind. And it won't make sense to the part of you that buys into the like hypey-dipey Valentine's lovey-dovey thing. It's pure love. It's a total freedom. It's a total worthiness. It's a total serenity. So feel into that, because it requires you to sort of go inside and connect in order to connect with that essence and let that come through. It isn't something you can learn. So feel into all the lies you've told yourself about yourself, not being good enough, not being worthy, life isn't abundant. And just let yourself know, you keep your hand right on your heart, I am willing to receive infinitely. You can say that out loud. I am willing to receive infinitely. Take a deep breath in. And take a full breath out. It's 11:11 here in Mountain Time, so that's a magical time. The number one is, it's a connection with the infinite. So it's kind of cool that I just saw that as we're connecting with the infinite. That is scary. It's something, the unknown, right? The infinite. No, I've got to know, and I've got to control, and I've got to have it together and manage it. We go into that contraction. Be willing to let yourself receive infinitely. So that'll blow out of the water a lot of the beliefs about it's not available, I'm not worthy of it, it's not okay, it's not safe, I haven't worked hard enough, whatever. I'm willing to receive infinitely. So breathe that through all day long today, all month long, this month of Valentine's. Woohoo! All right, so that's the first thing. It's like, what lies am I telling myself that's creating this? So then I know I shouldn't eat this thing, but I'm going to eat this thing anyway. If you've ever found yourself, oh, I really shouldn't have that, but, and then you go and eat the thing, you're eating in shame. You're buying into the idea that you shouldn't, and then you're doing it anyway. So what I would invite you to, which is going to be so much more harmonic for your body, is just let yourself have what you're choosing to have. Okay, there's this idea I shouldn't, but I can see I'm not strong enough to have this willpower, and I'm just going to eat the thing. So just get on board for what you're choosing. Your whole mind's going to freak out about this and be like, no, if I do that, I'll just eat all the chocolate cake there is on the planet, or I'll do all these bad things, or sleep with all these people that I shouldn't sleep with, or just let myself have all these bad things. If I let myself have what is my nature or my urge, it will be bad. Well, that foundation is, I'm shameful and wrong. You can release that. I am willing to honor myself fully and stop beating myself up. The first thing that's going to happen is you're like, okay, I'm eating the whole chocolate cake, and I'm just going to appreciate that I'm eating the whole chocolate cake. I stop making myself wrong. I stop buying into shame. I stop buying into I'm not good enough or strong enough or I'm bad and unworthy. And I just let all that BS belief system go and I eat the whole chocolate cake. But I do it in a higher degree of self-acceptance. That's self-love. What happens? It's a magic moment. What happens when I allow that instead of resisting it and judging it and trying to fight it is I have entered a greater state of grace. Maybe it's only 2% greater. I'm still eating the chocolate cake or doing this sabotaging behavior. But it is very significant because I've just changed my whole frequency of embodying this judgment, anger, hatred, shame, and I've embodied acceptance. Unthinkably powerful what that does cellularly. What that does, and we've even seen this scientifically, is like if you eat the cake, but you're in a state of harmony, I accept myself fully. Yes, there's this old judgment about the wrongness of me, but I'm just going to let myself have this moment without judgment, without making myself wrong. And yeah, the behavior will be what it is, but you're in 2% greater harmony. It changes everything about how you metabolize food. It changes everything about your emotional state and food cravings. The physical urges will change. And this can happen instantly or it can just happen over time. It changes the way your body processes and eliminates toxins and detoxifies and releases what you don't need. So of course you don't need 1,000 calories of cake maybe, or tons of sugar or whatever. Your body can release what it doesn't need. It even changes your gut biome. Candida, you've got yeast overgrowth and I've got to go on this Candida diet and be more disciplined. It cannot survive in an environment, a physical environment, energetic environment of your body when there is self-love. What? But Candida grows from sugar and there's the sugar there and it's got to grow and grow and eat the cake. And yeah, that's the physical reality, but even more powerful in determining your health is your energetic reality. And when you enter that 2% greater self-acceptance, it changes everything. Candida or bad bacteria or viruses, Lyme disease, those frequencies and those pathogens are frequencies, first and foremost, cannot survive in a field of self-acceptance and self-love. Doesn't mean they all die off instantaneously the moment you embrace that 2%, but it does start a process. It does start healing. It does start a clearing and a cleansing and a releasing of that old dysbiosis or virus or pathogen or whatever, and allow the creation of your healthy system, of a more harmonious biome in your gut, right? Like good bacteria. We eat all these probiotics and it's I'm eating all these probiotics, thousands of dollars a month, and my body's not healing. Well, this is more powerful and it can allow, if you are using supplements or probiotics, allow those to take hold and develop a healthy gut biome, develop a healthy, harmonious, in your bloodstream, in your immune system, everything that's happening within you. So if you're ready for this, have at it. So this is the first premise is, what are the lies I'm telling myself that are causing this sabotage? And what if I start to release them and resonate with the truth? All right, I'm going to look at these comments, lots of juicy things people are posting. Jennifer, I also see self-sabotage in friends and sometimes in myself when they see themselves trying hard, pushing hard, while also staying in victimization and blame. They're still holding on to what others have done to them and not letting go of those attachments. They can't move forward. I see the correlation here with ill health too. Yeah, this is huge. Part of what are the lies I'm telling myself? This person wronged me and I'll never be okay. And maybe it happened 10 years ago. You are okay, but you're carrying it. And it's really hard to see how am I playing the victim? Because when I'm in victim, I'm not getting my needs met. I'm not getting what I need. And so if I hear some blonde girl telling me I'm being victim, it's screw her. She doesn't understand what it's like for me. So I get that. What do you need to receive so that you can let it go? You've got to let yourself receive more self-love or acceptance before you're going to forgive anything or let anything go, because you're actually holding on to that wrongness or I was wronged or the victimization. You're holding on to it as a way to finally acknowledge you are in pain. You are a freaking warrior, that you're still showing up to life and breathing and even coming to a forum like this to eke out some sort of expansion. So freaking bravo to you who have been experiencing life as a victim. Celebrate yourself, because we can so easily make ourselves wrong when we start to even hint at the idea we've been in victim. It's screw you. You don't know how hard it's been for me. It's impossible. I've been hurt. I've been abused. I've been destroyed. And I haven't picked up the pieces yet. I can't let that go until I receive what I really need, which usually is the acknowledgement of my own greatness, the acknowledgement of my own warrior self that wow, I went through something so unthinkable and I'm still breathing. So celebrate that first. The releasing and letting go is going to happen automatically. So, I remember a long time ago, there was this book called Don't Forgive Too Soon. And it was really all about that. It's don't try to forgive and forget and be this righteous, I'm going to be the better person, when you really haven't received what you need and honored your experience. So if you've been in victim, or if you notice your friends doing victim, can you find a space of reverence for the hardship they have endured? That is required before we can let it go. So thank you for sharing that. Chrissie, I think I'm number one self-sabotager. I need this talk. Thanks, Chrissie. So you can share anything else that's like specific about what you notice or what that experience has been like. Nicole, I'm stepping into my passion and will be coaching others. Woohoo! I know this is my path right now, and I'm extremely excited about this. However, I still find myself having doubts and fears. This is so common. And I knew you were going to go here before, when I read the first sentence. It's like, the first thing that comes up when we step into assisting anyone, and you want to sort of move into the mentoring versus coaching as far as how that gets defined in the mind, assisting versus helping, because the helping and coaching is going to trigger all the I'm not enough. I'm not complete myself. I'm not enlightened, 100% of the time. What the heck do I have to share? That's going to trigger all of that. But if you're mentoring and assisting, it gives you a lot more of the willingness to let yourself be free to share what you know, to share your hardship, to share what you've overcome, to share your messy, horrible struggle that otherwise sounds like, ooh, I'm so broken. How can I fix you? So let go of that old way of thinking, and it will be a lot easier. She says, I found myself with, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Do I really deserve to be feeling better and being successful? So yeah, that's all part of the self-sabotage, which brings me into that's the third point. I'll get to the second point in a minute. So the first point is like the lies I'm telling myself. The other point I was going to make is I'm afraid to let myself really have it. I'm afraid to let myself have it that easy. I'm afraid to let myself have life be that fluid because of that foundation of like, well, life's really not that fluid. So if I sink into that fluidity and easy street, something bad will happen. I'm afraid to let myself fully rest and stop. That was a big one for me when I was in medical school and had that whole autoimmune complex going on. I had so much chronic fatigue, but I really resisted totally stopping, like a complete and total surrender. Because I thought if I stopped, I would be stagnant. If I stopped, the whole world would fall out. I would lose everything. Somehow there was this idea like, I've run and achieved and attained, and like, I can't let this go. So the premise of that is it's not real. It's not really mine. It's not really here. It's vulnerable. I could let it go. If I stop, everything I am falls away. That's a lie, right? Because the truth of who I am a gift on the planet because I show up fully. I am a gift on the planet because I presence myself deeply and let life flow through me without judgment of what it's supposed to look like, without an agenda of how it's supposed to go. I let life flow through me and create what life wants to create. So that's my contribution on the planet. That's why my work is effortless. That's why my life is effortless. Because I let life move through me. When I'm not ready to let myself have it, it's like, I'm really not good enough, so I have to work really hard and have to hold it together. And I was holding it together. I was holding together this thing that I thought was my achievement or my value or my worth. And so I couldn't let go. So that, in a nutshell, is what creates chronic fatigue. You're just fighting against yourself. Can I release that to let the unknown come through, right? Who am I really? Is it actually good enough? Will it really create something good, or will it create something just kind of mediocre and I'll never be satisfied? Like, that's all fear. It's all BS. It's all belief system. What if I just let what's ready to be me, what's ready to get created, just come through? That's when there's true freedom. So let yourself have it. Let yourself have all of the rest and joy and ease and juiciness and abundance that you want, that life has to offer you. Because your wanting it comes from your real true self, not from this like ego of like, I need more, I need more, I need more. It's totally a different request. It's a different desire. So let yourself have what it is you truly need, what you truly resonate with. That's coming from your true self. Okay, thank you, Nicole, and like best wishes with this journey into moving into assisting others. Happy birthday, Kim. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of us wishing me happy birthday. I think it's such a great idea to celebrate yourself. That's why I shared that it's my birthday. And like, here we are talking about this. Celebrate yourself in every way you possibly can. That brings you closer to pure love. Even if you just celebrate, like, I had a good poop this morning. Yeah, there's some health here. Something's working. Having delivered my child a few weeks ago, that really is a gift. Like, there's a lot that gets changed around in your pelvis. And the gift of having it come back together and be functional and work the way it's meant to work is something to celebrate. So celebrate anything. The second point I was going to make, so of the 3 points, lies I'm telling myself, entering into my greatest fear and letting myself have the thing that I think I shouldn't have. Like, oh, if I rest too much, it'll all fall out. Enter into your greatest fear. That's the second point. To let yourself have that thing you're trying to avoid by holding it together. And the third one is, we have this idea, like, we're really the ones creating the problems that cause self-sabotage. We have this idea, I'm my own worst enemy. And I remember that being said to me so many times growing up. My mom will be like, you're your own worst enemy, because she could see how much I was fighting against myself. And we can make that become a problem, right? Like, oh, I'm so bad and wrong, and now we gotta like fight this enemy. I'm my own worst enemy. Now I'm really screwed. Now I have a big problem. How do I attack that? How do I get over that? Now I've got more work to do. So can let that one go. You are a being of light. You are infinite. You are the essence of pure love. Again, none of this makes sense to the mind. It's like, yeah. So what does that really mean? We've got to let the mind go and just connect in the heart. Just take a few deep breaths. Relax your shoulders. Even that little shift will bring you 2% more in alignment with this truth of, I'm infinitely worthy. I can just be, and that will allow many miracles to happen in my life and in my body. Just that alone. So release the idea of this self-sabotage means the wrongness of me. This self-sabotage means I have a problem. This self-sabotage means I need therapy. I've got to fix this. No. Don't go there. It's way easier than that. And when you connect with the truth of your fluidity, the truth of your essence, you can just let yourself have it. Okay, let's see what other... Sean says, I'm willing to honor myself fully and stop beating myself up. Yeah, that's it. That's like the doorway to walk through. That's the start that opens up living something other than self-sabotage. I love the work of Matt Kahn, True Divine Nature. He talked about this, like, okay, you find yourself doing the sabotaging behavior and just let yourself have it. Like, here I am with the big, vat of ice cream. Okay, I'm gonna need a shovel and I'm just gonna shovel it in. And like, go into it instead of trying to avoid it. I'm just gonna, all right, why don't I just get a big shovel and just sit here for an hour and eat the whole thing? And that little bit of allowance, no longer making it wrong, gets the layer of judgment and shame off of the equation. Shame is the most toxic frequency to the human body. So when you carry that judgment and shame, it just makes the craving stronger. It just makes the sabotage worse. It's like feeding the saboteur. But when you release and are no longer willing to carry that shame or make what you're doing wrong, it's like you're starving the saboteur. You're just releasing the saboteur, and that's not there anymore. And then it's like, okay, I can eat the ice cream or not eat the ice cream. Okay, here are the two choices. Now I can choose because I'm in freedom. When I'm in judgment, I can't choose. So like, I've got to conjure up more willpower, more willpower, more willpower. It'll never be enough. Okay. Allison Villari, you're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you. All right, great. People are really resonating with this. Thank you. So let me just see what else we've got. And I would want to also share where I'm at, because a lot of people I know are new in the forum here in the yoga community. I'm at drkimd.com if you'd like to join me and receive more inspiration messages or assistance in any way. drkimd.com to subscribe. We do send these broadcasts out, but I also do other content that I send out for free every week. I love doing that. We have the Embracing Health program starting in the beginning of April. That's available. If people want to go deeper with this work, want to resonate with this, want to integrate this cellularly, like really live the truth of I'm infinitely free and I can experience infinite health and experience infinite abundance in my life. There were a lot of people in that program who had, physical, long-term chronic illness, pain, autoimmune disease, chronic fatigue, but also people with anxiety, depression, just not being fully alive. And some of them felt like, is this going to be okay for me? Do I belong here? I'm not physically sick. And it was like amazing, the openings that people had when they embrace this. And so part of it is embracing that space of pure love within us. That is what heals the body. We have so much more research than most people realize medically that show this truth of what's happening when we resonate with that self-acceptance, self-allowing, use EFT tapping. I love and accept myself fully. And that harmonic creates something new in the body, allows the body to heal. There's amazing studies that are showing this, but it's a different science from like Newtonian physics or classical physics, right? Classical physics, everything is separate. It's not affected by my observation of it. It's not affected by something outside itself, and everything behaves in a predictable, reliable pattern. And that's all well and good when we look at the physical world in that way. But when we look deeper under the electron microscope and we look at quantum physics, it's like, whoa, this is a whole different reality. Everything's behaving according to totally different laws. And that is the truth of what our bodies have moved into. There is so much more resilience within you than you have imagined. And when you allow yourself to operate in this new realm of possibilities, it's like science of possibilities. There is a whole different reality going on that applies to everything in your body, everything in your life, everything in your health, your money, your relationships. And in a lot of the mindsets we're in, it's like this magical, mystical thing. But we actually do have a lot of science that helps explain what our bodies really are. Explain we are primarily energy, first and foremost, and then physical secondarily. So my whole premise is, physical, mental, emotional, like we look at all of this, and all of that is included in spiritual. All of it, spiritual applies to all of it. It's not separate. Lisa says, I love what you just said, but honestly not sure how to celebrate my warrior success. Can you give me an example? Oh, that's really beautiful. We do have ideas about that. Like it has to be this woohoo Oprah Winfrey moment of I just changed the world. But I've come to realize that my most powerful quote unquote successes are that I can emanate a space of pure love. I can accept these deep, dark spaces within me that the world has taught me are wrong. I can accept and allow pure shame or fear to move through my body and allow it and love it, or right, because allowing, that is a form of love. So people will say, well, I don't love it, but I'll allow it, because we think love needs to mean like, oh, this is a good thing and I'm judging it as good or right. Well, you don't need to decide that, yeah, fear is the greatest thing that ever happened to me, or, oh, I'm so glad I have this shame. But to allow it is enough. It's enough. That's a form of love. I don't need to make it wrong that I have fears. I don't need to make it wrong that I sometimes feel not good enough. I don't need to make it wrong that sometimes I get so freaking angry about like the dumbest things, and I just let myself have it, right? Doesn't mean that I go and destroy someone, but I can just enter pure anger and enter my experience fully. That's a celebration, right? It's like, yeah, I'm so freaking pissed, and it's crazy, and I know on some level it makes no sense, but I'm just going to let myself embody that energy for this 10 seconds and move through it and not make it wrong or resist it. It's resistance that blocks health, not anger. It's resistance to shame that blocks full expression of self, not the shame itself. So I hope that kind of helps you, Lisa, to celebrate those aspects of you that are real. We went out to dinner last week. My mom was here out in Durango, which was so cool. She came out from Boston to help take care of the baby. And my girlfriend, Kristen, who is this just incredible person, and she's a naturopathic doctor, and she's just really smart and brilliant and, messy and crazy and fully alive. And my mom was like, she's so real. My mom loved her. I was like, oh, I love your friend, Kristen. But the thing that really resonated from my mom that she said that then a couple days later, she's like, she's so real. And that's what let my mom feel so comfortable with this person, was like, here's a woman who is raw, who is confused about many things in life, but like willing to just be in that space and express that from that space and like honor who she is without hiding it or making it wrong. And like, it just makes you feel so invited and so comfortable and so loved and accepted. And so then you like that person. And I could really appreciate when my mom said that. So let yourself release all the judgment you've got on your own expression, and you will be more real, and life will come through you more fully. And that means more awesome stuff will show up, more things that are a reflection of who you really are. Okay, I like these comments, and I want to read through these before we complete. Heather says, I've been sick and weak since I was born, and the belief that I could do what everyone else does, or that I could be as strong as everyone else, is something I've been trying to change. And there seems to be so many layers. I have fear that if all those layers are removed, I won't know what to do with my new life. This is huge. It happens a lot for people who've been chronically ill or in a chronic condition. It's like, wait, who will I be without this? But the bigger thing I want to speak to here is this idea that I want to be like everyone else. And although it isn't true that you need to live in limitation, it may be true that physically you're not meant to be like everyone else. Physically, there may be a physical limitation, like, well, I am not going to run, or I'm not going to do these physical activities, or I'm not going to be at the weight that everyone says I should be. I'm going to live in this different state. And when you don't make it wrong, you can receive what that limitation, the physical limitation, has to offer you in terms of your spiritual expansion. So you do not need to live in a spiritual limitation. You could live in total fluidity and total abundance and total joy and freedom, even if there's a physical limitation. I don't know specifically what those are. And it might not even be true that you're quote unquote meant to have a physical limitation. But when you embrace that possibility, it does create more space. It does allow for more to come in. That's what pure love is. Like, okay, I'm going to accept this state I'm in, whether it's transient or maybe it's going to be here for years, and work within what I have right now. That goes for a physical, emotional, or mental experience. When we embrace the moment or the limitation or the state, we allow its dissolution to whatever degree is available to us. So it may not be that you're meant to be like everyone else and do like everyone else does, and that can actually serve you in some really powerful way. All right, what else do we have? I want to just say again, thank you for everyone who's here participating, and thank you for everyone who is listening to the replay. I'm at drkimd.com, so you can come over to subscribe there. And then in Facebook, the MindBody community is a community that I've developed where we have more of this conversation. You can ask questions. There are certain online programs that I've shared where, sometimes we'll offer that and run it live, and you can participate with other people. So in the MindBody community, it's a great place to just jump in and continue this conversation and receive there. Chrissie says, I tend to feel like I'm not really liked or good enough, and I won't fit in, then I want to run. I'm afraid someone will betray me, so I'd rather not even participate. When someone sounds like they like me, I doubt it and get depressed. That's awesome, because you can see the foundation you're operating from. There's a conclusion, I'm not good enough, I'm not, because like you said, I'm not likable, I'm not good enough. And so you can just be in that. Okay, yeah, I see you. I see that little niglet of whatever that is, and whatever I pick that up. And then breathe into it. You don't need to resist it. You don't need to fix it. Just be with that. I honor this experience that I've had for so long. I take 5 deep breaths. Let everything go with the out breath. And then when you feel that complete, you can just let yourself know, I'm ready to live beyond this experience. So it doesn't need to be resistance or fixing, because like, see how we make it a problem? But we can just embrace it, and that allows it to like kind of loosen up so it doesn't have such a hold on us. And then we can embrace something bigger. I'm ready to live beyond this. However long that might take, whenever my inner self is ready, I'm open to that experience. Rachel says, thanks so much for saying that, which whatever the physical limitation is, the path is the path. Whatever the physical limitation is the path, and it can be embraced. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, especially in medicine, like we make it so wrong. We make death so wrong, and so like, I've got to avoid that at all costs. I've got to make sure no one dies and like pump more blood into them and more drugs into them and do everything I can to prevent this. And really, death is a transition into another form. Everyone who has connected with themselves spiritually becomes aware of that. It isn't, that's not a question. But when we're in our limitation, it's like, I don't know if I believe that, and there's a lot of fear. Same thing with, physical health. So what if physical health isn't the right or wrong, but my vibrance and my full aliveness, my fully embracing who I am is the first principle. And physical health can stem from that to whatever degree is ready to happen for me. Sometimes there's limitation in money, and it's like, all right, well, if I'm really aligned with myself, I should have more money. And that isn't necessarily true. Sometimes the limitation of that physical experience calls us into a greater creativity or a different expression of self or more compassion for ourselves and others, or who knows what. But we don't need to make it wrong. So I hope this has been helpful to everyone who's here live and to those of you listening to the recording. Again, I'm at drkimd.com, and we do have a live program starting up in a month and a half. It's called Embracing Health. That's on the website, drkimd.com/EH. For those of you who are just ready to go deeper for a home study program, I always recommend the Instant Elevation because I love what got created in that program in assisting us in harmonizing our body, being in our harmonic state so that we can receive more, so that we can receive what we need. That's at drkimd.com/IEP. And I want to give a shout out to all of you yogis who are new, who are joining here, and practice this next week in your yoga or just in your breathing, because that's something all of us will be doing, to embody this truth, to embody I love and accept myself as I am, and I can release all of those awarenesses of the saboteur, the limitation, the faulty belief system, the old foundation, and I can allow something new in. So use that with your movement if you are doing yoga. Use that with your breath if you're just, maybe not a yogi. It's kind of the same thing. So just really begin to embrace that. I fully embrace all of who I am. Sending you so much love, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.